Hey Greg. Alright. Thunderbolt bollocks. Doesn't seem likely. Hey Richard Bicker, Q's. Alright, so those of you who have been watching the streams the last couple of weeks will know that I've got a 1932, which is an A20, A20O1521, and it's been heat sensitive. And finally I decided to take the damn shield off the board, because where the heat sensitivity was on the other side is around about here. And if we look at the Travis and Rob, if we look at the board view and we sort of decide, okay, well, let's say it's around about here, then the equivalent spot is around here, which is up in this sort of zone. So I decided finally I'd take this shield off, and I'm glad I did, because there's a crap ton of crap that's happening under this crapping board. So maybe finally we might get to the bottom of why this is heat sensitive. It could still be actually this chip itself, but looking at how messed up all these are, we might have a chance it might be that. It might even be the crystal at fault, I don't know. Hey Braden Smith from Louisiana. What? Oh, Lewis has got a stream going. Oh well, sucks to be him. He's probably lying up in bed somewhere and just talking all sweet loving about his new place to be. Yeah, a lot of this needs to be reworked, so I'll explain why. Hopefully explain a few things. Like this one here is pretty much completely gone. Where is that one? That's on that side there. 3044. It's still all Thunderbolt stuff, but I'm sure one of them, oh look, the next one there is also completely cavitated out. Look at that. It's basically, oh, yep, like that. Where do you, again, Thunderbolt. So, yeah, it could be anything. So we're just going to have to do a bit of, what do you call it, maintenance work, and hopefully get going. Hey Teresa. So this will be a little bit of drudgery, but hopefully it'll be rewarding at the end. Hopefully. Now at least the upside is this chip doesn't appear to be underfilled, so thank God for that. I was kind of worried when I was reworking it, trying to get the shield off, because believe me, that shield did not want to come off. I was worried that I would end up bobbling some balls out, but fortunately that wasn't going to be the case. God damn it, knew that would happen as soon as I touched it. And yet, I still touched it. Has that even got a... Nah, that resistor bottom pad's been ripped off, so... I'll have to get a replacement. Nice job, Paul, nice job. So, R3075... You're 100k... What size are you? 201. Ah, I actually bought those, I think. 402, 402. Oh, come on. Where's my 201 resistor box? 201 caps. Come on, Paul. 402 caps. I could have sworn I had a 201 box for resistors, but this says otherwise. As soon as I opened up the box, it showed me that it had 201 resistors up the top. Anyway, so these are proper replacements, not some shonky donkey stuff. Gotta clean my tips. Lewis is pinching all my viewers. That's unacceptable. And it's got nothing to do with board repair. That's okay. I'll get my revenge. I'm just going to write on this strip that these are 100k. Because often what can happen is you will be in the middle of a job or something and the strip gets separated from its bag that identifies it, and then you're looking at the strip and you're kind of go, well, what are you? Admittingly, you could just put the old multimeter on it and should be good to go. Come on. Okay. This one's 100k, I'll probably just replace that too. Well, I should anyway, it's pretty beaten up. Yep, it's 100k. You're gonna come for a little ride. Yeah, there wasn't anything at all on that pad. Hey, Max Miser. So what's Lewis's place proposingly going to cost? Tell you what, I'd love to be able to steal just, let's see, if I stole 1% of Lewis's viewers, that would be a nice 10,000 extra on mine. $12,000 per month, I presume. What's the squareage? I'm presuming you guys are going to report it in feet, so I've got my conversion head on. Rid of the inflated deposit. I suppose a lot of developers in New York are probably wishing for someone to magically come along and take their high bidding price, but at the end of the day they probably have to accept the fact that they need to eat, so they have to take a bit of a cut. I mean, a deposit's really more of just the security thing, so it's probably not as vital. I can't get over this burnage here. I don't know whether that's from me. I can't imagine. That's quite a burn. This definitely, those two, maybe that. May as well just clean them all up. Hey George and Neil Lamb. I guess for those of you gifted enough to be able to handle 2 conversations at once, it won't be a trouble. For me, I can't do that. My brain just gives up and goes to bed. And then I can't hear either of them. that cap definitely has to come up. There's just no way that can sit there. The pad underneath is probably pretty much eaten away. And it would look like we've got a... It's hard to say whether we've got a break in the trace or whether it's corroded. A bit of knifing action will help. I have in the past tried to concurrently watch multiple streams. Like Lewis and Jessa used to frequently end up streaming at the same time back in their heyday. Alright. So we've definitely got a break there. I wonder what that would have caused. So that is on UPC, XO, LDO. Not rightly sure what that feeds. Goes into U3200, which is this big one. Well, the brake certainly would have caused trouble, so yes, fixing it we must do. Hey, Space Cookies, interesting name. Stream Wars. Back in the days when Lewis was trying to lose subscribers, as opposed to now where he's trying to get them back. He wants his million. He needs his million to be able to pay for the new rent. Okay, what size is that cap? C28, 1 microfarad, 10 volt. It's actually a fairly low spec cap given that size. Okay, 110402. Rossman Reality Channel, that's, yeah. 163, 1063. You watch, I won't have one of these. 1063, 163, 125, 224. Interesting, I've got caps all around those values, but I don't actually have that specific one. But I do have a 25 volt rated one, so we'll use that. The downside of using a slightly higher rating on the voltage is that most likely you are sacrificing its ESR, so the cap will have a slightly higher resistance, effective resistance, which means it won't handle current ripple quite so well. But in these sort of situations, the caps most likely aren't being pushed to their limit, and in this one just looks like a general decoupling. And if it can't handle the load, something further up the line probably will help it out. Christian, you can't go sleeping. Sleep's for the wicked. I didn't get diddly squat sleep last night. Even at about 4 o'clock in the morning, I still had that weird sensation of, oh, flip's sake. Where did that go? The weird sensation of being very tired, but had that clarity in my mind, and that's very annoying. almost as annoying as having lost that cap. Damn it. Son of a gun's probably flown off into the 5th dimension. What about this one? I can't believe it, I found that. That is the cap? Yep. Is it? Are you? Pretty sure that's it. Looks fresh. Teresa, you're doing a washing machine repair. What happened to it? Alright, we still got to connect that little bit, itty bitty bit, to that. I have a suspicion it's probably this resistor here as well. Let's have a look at the board view. All hail the board view. If you want board views, you buy Flex board view and give me money. Because I deserve money. Because I say so. Alright, that is confirmed. Now that resistor there doesn't look too bad, but maybe I'll consider replacing it. You're a 3K3. I don't want to find a 3K3. We'll see if it bonds. Hopefully also this isn't the crystal at fault. I mean, that is a comparatively burnt crystal. So it's entirely possible. Yeah, I see the bridge there. Don't worry, I see it. We'll get rid of it now. There we go. That'll stop everybody having nightmares. I don't know, unfortunately. No cooling unit in this room, which is a bit of a problem. While the weather's not profoundly bad right now, it's going to get worse. And at which point I'll definitely be wanting one. What you can hear, however, is the fume extractor. I love it. When you want solder to act like that, it won't. No AC in this room, no. I really would like there to be AC, but it's not going to happen. I'm just going to have to restrict myself to nighttime repair. Probably in about another 2 or 3 weeks, that's going to be what happens. They'll become nighttime only repairs. Alright, let's see if this board now behaves. Where did I put my USB meter? Oh, there it is. There we go. Let's see how we go. Okay. Oh, it actually works. Oh my god, it actually works. So for whatever reason that okay, I shouldn't get too excited just yet. I need to cool the board down a bit more. So we do that by just flooding the hell out of it, giving it a bit of a scrubby dub dub. Now you're probably wondering why I didn't look under that shielded area first, or at least before. The main reason is that most of the time shielded areas like that generally don't get liquid damage due to the viscosity of the liquid that tends to get into the machines. It just sort of, the surface tension and the meniscus barrier, things like that, prevent the liquid actually penetrating through the shield wall gaps. But it obviously did this time, so yeah. And of course there was all the damage on the other side, which actually did pertain to the behaviour of what was happening here, more so than what we've just repaired. Like the area that we repaired was all Thunderbolt related, though that is integrated obviously with the USB-C now. Alright, let's try it again. If it works this time, then I'll consider it cured. Yeah, it's just did a reboot. Come on. No, still doing the same crap. Oh wait, no, it actually went that time. Just seems like it took a little while to cycle itself up. Alright, let's try put it in the computer itself and see what happens. I'm shocked, but, oh gee. I got a customer here. I do. What's the time? 1 o'clock. Funnily enough, they're on schedule. Hey babe, yeah. 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 They should be just dropping off a phone. Have you already spoken to him?
I just said I'll get you.
Oh, it's okay. Alright, I'll come on out. Give me 2 minutes.
I could have got it off her.
It's okay. Just in case it turns to a complicated... Okie dokie. And we're back. Supposedly can't hear out of this one. Trying to think, what is this? iPhone 6. Looks like the earpiece section's completely blocked up anyway. Yeah, well, no great surprise. That's completely and utterly sealed over in plastic, though there should still be some sort of noise. Yeah, hilarious when they do waterproofing. Oh well, I'll have a look at that in a bit after this. I was speaking to the people yesterday and I just completely mind blanked at this point as to what it was that we were meant to be doing. Other than fixing it, of course. But we got this thing to fix first. Give me some screws to put the board in. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, come on now. Thank you. That was just starting to get a little bit irritating. I still have the issue of trying to find an ideal thermal transfer pad replacement for these boards. Because actual thermal paste is no good. Because this stuff, the thickness required is too much, and thermal paste isn't really designed for extreme thicknesses. Damn it. The alignment of the screen connector isn't perfect, so it's not wanting to sit down properly. Sweet Bridget, how did you get a bend in it like that? What's going on there? Oh, I can see how you get a bend in it now. Aha, got it. Start from the edge first. Alright. Crikey, YouTube's getting particular about so many comments. I can feel the day's already starting to really warm up now. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay, we're going to put our little privacy shield there. Let's see if we can get this to play ball. Okay, we've jumped up to 20 volts. That's definitely proof that it's running, because there's no way I could get it to do that before. I'd have to heat it to get it to jump. Nothing on the screen yet, but I do recall it taking a while before. So here we go. Although it's only doing 10... no. 60... It's not drawing enough current. Oh wait, there we go. 500 milliamps, that's more like it. Yes, we have an Apple logo. Just takes a while to get its head into gear. Yeah, close enough to Townsville, that's for sure. Yep, that's definitely working. That's the screen I want. So we've got a win. That took a lot longer than I wanted. That's a typical bloomin' rabbit hole. And yeah. Shut down. Fantastic. I'm actually happy-ish. I know one person's going to be happy about that. I think I'm going to have to triple my charge rate to compensate for the amount of difficulties that this one presented to me. The only trouble with this particular machine is that there's still a significant amount of damage. Right over here, this whole daughter board is completely jacked up, and yeah, it's the audio daughter board, so that can be replaced, but yeah, it's not something I'm going to replace in this instance. I'll just leave it to the person who it's going back to, the shop, and so you got to replace that, and then maybe it'll be good to go. You're going to have to watch the speaker connectors. They're a little bit junked up, but definitely the daughter board has to be replaced. I'm not going to replace it here, or I'm not going to take it out, because it's got enough screws in there to cause confusion, so better to just leave them there, put everything else back in. I'll have to ultrasonic it. The only thing I'm not sure about is whether to put that shield back on. I suppose I should. It's just such a pain. And they never go back on quite as perfect as they were originally. Would have been better if it used the same solder that the iPhones use for their shields, which of course is extremely low melt. It's probably got a lot of bismuth in it or something like that. But no. Well, like I said, I'm happy. It's working reliably now, so that's what matters. Oh, hello, Lewis. How's it going? Saw you were having a bit of a bedroom discussion about your new property. So have you actually gone ahead with it, Lewis, or you still trying to decide? Yeah, we just fixed this 1932. We had corrosion all over it, and we ended up having to fix up this stuff around here. Those resistors were completely gone, and let's see, you can see the crystal is a bit burnt. That trace was completely gone. I replaced the CD3215s on the back twice. Ended up going back to the original ones, and they were fine. Now that I'm looking at it, I might actually fix up this transistor pad down here. I can see that's actually a little bit questionable. And so what's probably going to happen is I'll pack it up, send it off, and then within about 10 minutes of the person getting it, that transistor leg is going to die. This has been a rabbit hole. Every time it gets me. I forget that the screen is connected there. Alright, let's fix up that transistor leg. Alright. Man, that's brutal that you guys have got to be so pedantic about your property leases and such to that level. Yeah. Those transistors wouldn't have been around, those pads wouldn't have been around for too much longer. Get off, you mangy bastard. Thank you. Sometimes I like putting flux down before I actually solder it, because it gives that emulsion layer visual effect improvement. Oh, for flip's sake, come on. Still gave me plenty of practice of reballing 3215s. At least they're pretty easy with that 5S stencil. What's it like trying to find a commercial property in Australia? To be honest, Lewis, I'm not too sure what it must be like down in place. Your equivalent would be Sydney. Around here, it's easy pie. They're all basically pretty much the same around here. I mean, in this town, you could do it in a day, have your choices, and be done with it. What I'm trying to do though is instead of commercial property, I'm looking at spending around about 35,000. So let's call that US 25, and building a. I'm trying to think now the size 36 by 12 foot building, and then split it down the middle. Well, it's not sitting perfectly, but I'm certainly happier with that. Let's double check it still works. This one, no, it was just, I think it just, they kept using it after it got wet. Which of course, well, it was running while it was wet, that much was obvious. And, or at least they turned it on while it was wet. And that's why all the pads get etched out underneath. There we go. We've got our 20 volts, so we're good. Yep. Okay, so this will just go into the ultrasonic. I'll have to, unfortunately, take the heatsink off again. I hate doing that. Mostly because the stuff that's under here, you need to scrape it off the CPU, keep it aside, and reuse it. So I'll try my 0.5mm transfer pad, but I suspect it's going to be just that bit too thick. Yeah, that's not very pretty at all. $25,000 plot of land, or the land? Just the construction. That's a turnkey cost on my land. Well, not that I own land, but the property that I'm sitting on at the moment. The building itself would only have electricity, air conditioning, insulation, walls. When I say walls, I mean lined walls, as opposed to bare sheet metal walls, which is pretty much a guaranteed death sentence in this place. Yeah, see how the structure of this, it's got a granular form in it. So it's not like normal thermal paste. And I just, probably I'd think about 0.2mm would be about the right thickness for this. Anyway. Oh, question for those in the chat who deal with the CD3215s a bit. Is it possible, so long as you stick with the same firmware revision code like B03 or COO, to convert, like say this board here has, it's got the COO CD3215s. If I took both of those off and replaced them with B03s, would that work? Or does the board always have to stay with the original same 3215 revision code? That's a messy looking CPU. Just out of curiosity, I mean, for any future situations, because I have the only CD3215 spares I had were the B03 revision instead of the COO revision that this one is. Alright, so the ultrasonic cleaner is going to have to be powered up. It's in about 4 or 5 hours. That will be ready to go. You can use COO in place of B03, but not the other one. Okay, because the COO is the more recent revision. Fair enough. Great. So basically what I've got is a couple of BO3s that really aren't much use. I guess I'll keep them. May as well reball them now while I'm at the job. Get some reballing practice. No harm in that. Everybody loves reballing. Really got to get myself my desktop CNC machine so I can make jigs for this crap. Hey Sonia. Come on, you mangy bugger. Yeah, fair enough, Lewis. I mean, that makes plenty of sense. I was merely asking because in this case I did have a couple of these spare BO3s on hand. They were taken from an 875, I think it was. And I thought I'd try it. But I didn't have any success, so I thought, alright, well, there must be a reason for that. And my suspicion was the firmware revision, as you say. A bit like, I suppose, the TriStars, where you can put a 610A3B on pretty much everything, but yeah, you can't go the other direction. Oh, Jared, I mean, I would, but the trouble is, see, I don't have a reference right now for how I want to do things, so that's why I want to get my own desktop unit so that I can do the prototyping and come up with what I need. Otherwise, I'm pretty much just shooting in the dark. No fun at all shooting in the dark like that. Uses up a lot of time, resources, money. And you can make a rough estimate, but not really the ideal way of doing things. Come over here, little chip. Come on, come over here. Don't be shy. Lewis doesn't bite much. Just don't give him free spray. No, it didn't work. I can tell you that. That was what I tried earlier before I started the stream. I thought, well, I'll try these BO3s, and they most certainly did not work, so the behavior was different. With the BO3, what would happen is it would go to 5 volts, it would be showing around about, what was it, about 30, 40 milliamp, and then it would just shut down and draw 0. Whereas what I was experiencing with the COOs was it would just keep cycling, whereas the BO3 wouldn't. So it was obviously a firmware fault that causing that issue, hiding the original one that I had. Is this ready to pop out yet? Yep, there we go. So my experience basically confirms what you've said, that it just won't work. Flippin' heck. Give me an SMC over this any day. At least SMCs are big enough that you can manhandle them. Anyway, so I'm still reballing these because they may be useful in the future. And I figure it's easier for me to reball them now than later. This is another one. Kyle, yes, you can now get the exact stencils. Lewis, do you sell the exact stencil for this? Because I'm just using an iPhone 5S power chipboard. Not even sure if Lewis is still here, but worth a shot. Yeah, this is just an iPhone 5S black stencil. It's not 3D, but it is square hold, so that's good. I got this one from Union Repair. Certainly I know I've seen on AliExpress that the stencil for the CD3215s are available. Sometimes you can buy them along with the chips themselves. But this stencil is Q3 whatever. Yeah, iPhone 5S Power Logic Module stencil. I do have that chip on the 3D stencil, but the trouble is the actual carrier for these chips is a little bit larger than whatever that chip for the 5S is meant to be, so it won't sit flat. So Rossman does have one? Alright. One day I might buy it, but chances are I won't. Chances are I'll just get it from AliExpress. The United States Australian Postal Service is a little bit crazy expensive. That's not Lewis's fault. That's just the United States. Hey Prater. To be fair, in some ways this stencil is kind of easy to use because it's a much bigger stencil as opposed to what you typically the proper one is about the same size as the SMC ones, so you don't have a lot of area to pin down things. Like when I let go of this stencil, I'm actually, well, when I'm done, I'm not holding it when I reflow it. It's just sitting there on the top of the chip and that's it. Fixing things, it's getting pretty damn warm actually. I don't think I'll be able to sit in these gloves for much longer. Once this chip comes out, I'm pretty much done. It would, for the square hole stencils, I would say it's probably laser. There's no edge deformities that would indicate a press type die cut. So yeah, I'd go for laser, which makes it a little bit slower to produce them, but it's certainly a better quality. Whereas die cut ones, blah. A lot of the circular hole ones can be die cut ones. Alright, that chip looks perfectly fine to use. Now I understand why Lewis sent me BO3 ones. I thought he was being nice, but what he actually was doing was offloading his old stock on me. That's a real gift of love. Yep. Nice job, Lewis. Get out of the way. Alrighty. Now, if you look at the... I mean, you could do it with the press, but I don't think a press would actually give you the results you're after. I was just going to bring out the stencil again. Because when you do a press cut, you inevitably... there's always going to be some sort of deformity. But the way these look, they definitely look more like laser cut holes to me. Slightly round on the edge, very consistent, yeah. And there's no folding or crimping near the on the surfaces or the corners, so I would sooner put money on that being laser cut. I mean, it'd be a pain to make a press for this thing when you can just simply run the laser over it. I mean, a laser to do that probably takes, you know, maybe a minute to do those holes if it's a fast one. That would be my money anyway. That'd be my bet. Hey, Aussie Geek. Alright. Etching, with etching you would normally see some sort of creep, even with, like if you have a look at a circuit board, even with masking and things like that, you almost always at those sort of sizes start to see some sort of creeping. You watch, I won't be able to find anything. Yeah, I'm not going to find anything. I don't know. It just seems to me technically laser would be the fastest, simplest way of getting into production at the numbers that they're going to do. Because they'll only be doing a few thousand. Yeah. Can't demonstrate any creeping on this one. Oh well. So much for that. So much for my theory there. Alright. Alright, that's it. I'm done for the day. Well, for this session anyway. So we got that 1932 finally sorted out. And hey, into the bin. Excellent. But now I'm just going to send the message of, let the person know, and pre-warn them that they have to get themselves an audio daughter board and they can clean up that stuff, because this now has sucked up probably 9-10 hours of my time. It shouldn't have. That was my bad, but it's what's been done. It's fixed, so yeah, I think it's a fair trade in this case. Hey Dan the plumber, good to see you. Alright, so anyway, till the next time, you'll take care. I'll see you later, and best of luck Lewis with your building too.